Obviously, big-time campers in Norman right now, and baseball off to some old familiar territory to try and get to Omaha. So it ought to be a fun Friday, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about tomorrow. Looking forward to tomorrow evening, Oklahoma, Kansas. I feel optimistic, man. And yes, we will talk recruiting over the course of this hour. Obviously, it's a big recruiting weekend for Oklahoma. Bunch of high-profile visitors in, some visitors that and some commits that have been into Norman and are visiting elsewhere this weekend, as obviously June, big recruiting month, not just here but around the nation, Travis. So we'll dive into all of that, plus your text as well on the text line. You can chime in 405-651-3439. Cal Poly, not much of a challenge here in game one of Supers. West Virginia all over Cal Poly, but we're wall to wall today. Every window, we've got college baseball in this super regional round, and of course tomorrow night 4:30 in the afternoon. Pregame gets underway with T-Row from Lawrence, Kansas, and first pitch just after 5 o'clock from Hoagland Ballpark. What do you think, man? I'm optimistic for this thing going in. How do you feel about Oklahoma in Supers?
You know, it's not the old Kansas baseball, that's for sure. So anybody thinking it's going to be similar to what Oklahoma used to run into, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. Luckily, Oklahoma just got what I would consider kind of just the better version of Kansas in Atlanta, right? I think with Kansas, you know what you're getting, 110 home runs on the season. You know, they've got a player, LeBlanc, who set the single-season home run record, leads them in all statistical categories. This is a big-time slugging team. Well, the good news is Oklahoma just beat the best slugging team in the country in back-to-back elimination games. So post-Georgia Tech Regional, I feel a lot better about it considering the matchup.
Yeah. What do you think about the pitching for Oklahoma? How do you feel we know Cord Rager will have game one tomorrow?
You know, I think he's earned it. I think he's been consistent, obviously spent a lot of time, most of the season at least, in that Sunday role. And, man, was strong, right? And excited for him, excited for the opportunity. But I do think it speaks a little bit to kind of the pitching staff in general down the stretch. You've kind of got a grab bag. You got a mystery bag at times when it comes to, obviously, LJ played incredibly well in the regional. You know, Cam Johnson probably has more big league arm talent than anybody on the roster. You know, so I feel like the team will go with, hey, look, we've got Steady Eddie, if you will, with Cord Rager, but you know, you've got the pitching upside to handle this Kansas lineup because you just handled a lineup that's even more dangerous than this dangerous Kansas lineup. And the good thing is LJ looked like he got his velocity back. I know that was starting to tail throughout the season. You loved what you see or what you saw out of the bullpen, and then obviously Jackson Cleveland delivered a few of the biggest innings of the year and no hit. Over his 3 2/3 he got to end the game in the final game 7
against that lineup, Travis.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So what you're hoping, Josh, is that this pitching staff saw it. They now believe in themselves. They believe, hey, I can go handle anybody in the country if I can go handle that. And I think you saw some confidence start to wane a little bit down the stretch in the SEC as they lose 4 straight series to end the year. But I think that regional pumped a lot of confidence back into that locker room.
Here was Skip Johnson yesterday. He, of course, Travis, was asked about the pitching, and an old familiar phrase from Coach Skip Johnson.
Well, it's like my dad paid his bills. He has a cowboy hat and puts the names in it. I can tell you right now the first guy that will start on Saturday will be Cord Rager, and we'll go from there. And we've kind of done that in the last couple weeks, and I think he'll give us everything he's got, and that's all we can ask out of him. And then we'll figure out who's going to do it. We haven't really looked at the matchups as much as we did going into Georgia Tech. When we got to Georgia Tech, Citadel was a really good baseball team. They were older. They had a really good baseball team, and for us to get by them and get an opportunity to play Georgia Tech, I mean, Georgia Tech might have been one of the best offenses in 36 years I've seen. I really believe that. I mean, the numbers that they put up and what we did there was exciting. But you know, yesterday's dead. You can see their shirts right now. You can video their shirts. Yesterday's dead. We got to get to the next pitch and the next game, and that's this coming up weekend.
Grab the old cowboy hat, baby. Away we go. Which Kordrager we knew. So the lefty gets game 1 versus Kansas. 5.74 ERA, 4-3 in the win-loss column, and across 58 innings of work, 75 strikeouts, 18 walks. And he's been, Travis, I think the most consistent starter. Crazy to say, but it's probably been the freshman left-hander that's been the most consistent for Oklahoma. So we knew that yesterday, and that's what we heard from Skip Johnson yesterday. We didn't know about Game 2 or Game 3. We know now the game notes. It'll be right-hander Xander Mercurius getting the Game 2 nod, a 6.18 ERA, but obviously some of those numbers, a couple of outings have inflated that. Look at the ERA for Xander. He's been better than that 6.18 ERA would indicate. 41 strikeouts, 18 walks. So that's it. That's what we know going in. It's Kordrager, it's Xander Mercurius, and we'll see outside of that.
Yeah, and they're going to be facing a lineup. I'm glad that Skip brought up the Citadel. I mean, he said it with a different accent, but he said they were an older ball club, for those of you that didn't understand it. Older ball club, right? Well, that's what you're running into with this Kansas team. A lot of people don't realize this isn't, you know, kids, you know, that went out of high school and they got into the high school ranks and then joined KU and they've been in this program for a minute. Maybe they're young, this, that, and the other. No, only 8 of the 36 players on KU's roster were recruited directly from high school. 8 of their starters come from the JUCO ranks, and the 9th regular position player came from D2. So it's like these are older players. They're all extremely experienced, and it's not gonna be anybody that feels like, oh man, the moment's too big. They're at home. They're comfortable. Oklahoma's pitching staff is going to have to know that, and they're going to have to bring that same type of confidence and intensity to the mound.
So, Super Regionals are underway. West Virginia 12, Cal Poly 2. That's game 1 of that Super. So they Mountaineers romping through game 1 there. They'll and they just went final. So they grabbed game 1, 12-2. We've got USC at North Carolina. That is just underway, Travis. Little Rock and Troy, a 4 o'clock first pitch. And then tonight, 7 o'clock, Ole Miss and Auburn. Are you USC? We don't root for typically in anything since Lincoln Riley departed here. But in this instance, can I talk you into pulling for USC to get North Carolina out of this championship picture?
Yeah, North Carolina, look, especially with the 1 and 2 seeds down, North Carolina currently has the best odds. Second best odds are Texas. So it's one of those things. Wait until after our Super Regional to ask me that again, right? Because, you know, if Oklahoma gets tripped up in Lawrence and does not make Omaha, I want as many good teams as possible to make sure that Texas doesn't win this thing.
Right. It's like, let's reconvene after the fact. If you knew that Oklahoma was advancing to Omaha, well, then you'd maybe be able to lean USC here.
Yeah. I think if I had that guarantee, I'd be able to lean USC. And look, USC as a school, I don't have a ton of beef with. I don't like their basketball coach, and I really don't like their football coach, but I don't really have anything against their baseball program, you know?
Agreed. Yeah, no reason to – though USC has the most national championships. They've won 12 of them. Not any time recently, but USC historically is the just based on national championships, the best college baseball program. So if there was anything to hold against them, it would just be greed of the fact that their trophy case is larger than everybody else's.
Yeah, it's, you know, it feels like that with just stickball in general, right? It's like everything on the West Coast. They dominated it for a while in both softball and baseball, but the sport continues to travel to the Southeast, doesn't it, Josh?
It sure does. I mean, you just look at these super regionals, and man, the SEC has a great chance to be incredibly well represented once this thing heads on up north to Omaha. D1 baseball staff picks. Only Jack and Kendall Rogers picked Oklahoma. Let's see how many folks made picks here. 7, 10 staffers made picks. So 2 out of 10 picked Oklahoma. But we, the people, Travis, the people, America voted, and slightly 54% of the vote came in Oklahoma. So the public is on OU, though the staffers outside of Kendall Rogers and one other staff member are picking Kansas.
Yeah, well, D1 baseball got a little egg on their face when the Oklahoma hype video, the mini movie as it were, started with their commentary about how the safest pick to come out of regionals was definitely Georgia Tech. So they got the old Brandon Walker treatment that Oklahoma once gave him. Let D1 baseball start off and be humiliated by their takes. But, yeah, I mean, the public obviously is going to lean towards the SEC team. The thing is, Kansas isn't going to be intimidated by the SEC logo. They just made quick work of Arkansas. But Arkansas, a tradition like any other, collapsing in the postseason. Arkansas, maybe the best baseball program to have 0 national titles.
We might, though, have earlier today, Travis, swung one of those D1 baseball picks. Aaron Fitt was on the Dari Noka show with Dari and me earlier this morning, and here's what Aaron Fitt had to say about the Oklahoma-Kansas Super Regional. Keep in mind, he picked Kansas, and then he said this earlier this morning.
This Oklahoma team is a pain in the neck to defend, and this is not Kansas' strength. Now I'm questioning my pick. I want to go back and change it because it's actually not a good stylistic fit. I was just there in Lawrence, and I saw West Virginia run all over Augie Mungarieta, the catcher, and the Kansas staff doesn't do an awesome job holding base runners. Like West Virginia kind of had their way with those guys on the base path. It's a similar style offense. It's an up-tempo, running game type team, and Kansas didn't handle it well. And so now suddenly I feel really, really insecure about my Kansas pick because I do think that this matchup looks actually pretty good for Oklahoma.
That is encouraging. We got him rethinking the pick.
Yeah, well, and also, what team was in the Kansas Regional that led the country in stolen bases?
Oh gosh, I should be. Was it Northeastern?
It might. It was one. It was one of the two teams that wasn't Kansas or Arkansas, if you will, and the Kansas, media is like, hey, Kansas, they didn't get stolen on by this.
Missouri State?
Maybe Missouri State. They were like, they didn't get scored on from this, group of 11 team or whatever. They didn't steal any bases against them despite being able to steal bases all year. It's like, yeah, I get that, but they're not having to steal against the level of opponents like a Kansas or like an Arkansas or anything else. And I'm glad Aaron Fitt brought up the ability to run on Kansas because I feel like Kansas has an inflated perspective of themselves or opinion of themselves when it comes to being able to keep, base runners at bay. And I think OU's going to take advantage of it, man. I think they feel really good about it after their regional, but they're not used to dealing with a team that pressures you on the base paths like Oklahoma.
Yeah, the pressure that other teams apply on the base paths and the pressure that Oklahoma applies, oftentimes different with the amount of stolen bases, chaos, how Oklahoma wants to approach things. So get on the base paths, right, and maybe you can find some success. What about the rest of this super regional round? What has your attention? Let's see. Troy, Little Rock, one of those two is going to Omaha. That's kind of interesting there. Alabama, St. John's, that's the super, Travis, that's paired up with us. Oklahoma and Kansas in Lawrence. Texas, Oregon looks good. Georgia, Mississippi State, and Auburn, Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, as a new man to the SEC, obviously it'd be fun to see a bunch of SEC teams up there. But that Oregon-Texas one really intrigues me. Obviously, what are we going to call that? The Mike White Bowl. And we'll say that we need Oregon to take Texas out. Texas can't be the team to win both national titles in the diamond sports. But just when looking around, obviously we talked about the North Carolina and Southern Cal. But West Virginia is really interesting to me. Obviously, they made quick work of Cal Poly, but that's a West Virginia team that Kansas demolished in the Big 12 championship game, 9-0. And that's a good offense that West Virginia has. Obviously, they put up double-digit runs today. Another team, Georgia. Georgia's a damn good baseball team. And
especially in Athens.
Yeah, I'm so glad that the Branch family got to watch both Kyle and his brother. How fortuitous to end up in the Atlanta Regional while the brother is playing right down the road in Athens. How cool was that?
Yeah, it wound up just in terms of location working out really good for the Branch family. Should be a fun weekend, and just great to have Oklahoma baseball back on this stage. And Skip said yesterday, Travis, that the final question. I'll try to get it queued up. I haven't clipped that one out of his post-practice media availability yesterday, but Skip was asked, is there a similar feeling? Are there some similarities between 2022 and 2026? And Skip said, yeah, absolutely. So we're hoping that it continues on that type of run with just that little bit extra bit of greatness at the finish line as 2022.
I mean, yeah, I hope so. I hope that Oklahoma fans, if they're able to make it to Omaha, I think we'll have more this time around if Oklahoma does make it to Omaha. It was slim pickings up there in Nebraska when I was up there, but you just hope that you've got enough magic to get all the way to the end, right? I mean, Skip Johnson he's been the most successful coach of the big three men's sports at Oklahoma. I mean, it's simple. He's been consistent. He's been consistent in the postseason, and he played for a national championship in 2022. And no other men's team on campus in the major three sports can say that. And, I know a lot of people down the stretch were ready to fire him if the SEC slide happened. But here he is, finds himself in the postseason again in the equivalent of, we'll call it the Sweet 16. And he's got it again. So we'll see if he can get back to Omaha and then let the chips fall where they may.
A Sweet 16 berth where, oh, by the way, they knocked off the top overall seed, or one of the number one seeds in order to get there. So the noise was getting louder, but, boy, that's a quick way to quiet it, to go win the Atlanta Regional and, who knows, maybe get out of Lawrence as well and get to Omaha. Locked In, presented, as it always is, every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones, a family-owned and operated company established in 2020. Many of their employees, they've been there for more than 20 years. They sell GMCs, which are some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road. So Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. We appreciate their partnership of Locked In. We'll step aside, take an opening timeout. Hey, that quarterback board, it's starting to shape up, Travis. And some interesting names on that 2028 quarterback recruiting board for Oklahoma. We can discuss that on the other side. Plus, your text. Keep them coming. I see a few of you chiming in here, 405-651-3439. Plus, we'll check in on that YouTube chat as well. It's Josh. It's Travis. This is Locked In on the home of Sooner fans on a Friday.
This is your home for Sooner fans. The Ref Sports Radio Network.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland & Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Norman mornings start at Neighborhood Jam. Whether you're craving sweet or savory, classic pancakes or chorizo burritos, we've got breakfast covered. Open 6:30 to 2:30 daily. Join the wait list on Yelp before you arrive.
Neighborhood Jam on Main Street in Norman. Brunch that brings good vibes every time. Start your day with the Jam, your local breakfast destination. Tune in every Friday to hear more about the House Smith Restaurant Group during the Rush and the Dari Noka Show here on The Ref.
Summer in Oklahoma means lake stocks and long days outside. It also means hidden hazards most families never think about, like faulty dock wiring that can silently electrify the water around it. At Oklahoma Electric Cooperative, we believe knowing the danger is the first step to staying safe. This summer, download our free summer safety checklist and make sure your family is ready for the season. Visit okcoop.org/safety.
At Alliance Bank, we believe in relationship banking. We don't want to just be your bank. We want to understand and assist with your goals. Whether you're starting a new business, purchasing a home, or simply want more convenience, Alliance Bank is here for you. We offer personalized solutions to meet your needs. I'm DJ Newsom with Alliance Bank, and we love to create a personalized banking experience for you or your business. Visit Alliance.bank or stop by our Norman location at University North Park. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Getting together with friends and family is one of life's greatest joys. But with the rise in misleading rumors that have sparked some confusion and worry about vaccines, our treasured community immunity could be at risk. It's true. Together, we are all healthier when everyone is vaccinated. So let's get together and let's thrive together. Talk with your pediatrician today about keeping up or catching up on routine childhood immunization. This message is brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatrics.
Clock's ticking. Summer leagues are filling fast at Center Bowling Center. Hey, it's Tyler McComas. Reserve your lane, grab a team, and enjoy Bites, the spare time grill between frames. Whether you're competitive or just want a weekly reason to get out, Center Bowling Center makes it easy and affordable in Norman. Don't wait. Leagues start soon and lanes go quick. Head to centerbowl.com or call 405-360-3634. Sign up today.
Presented by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. They sell GMCs, which are some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road, plus half-price oil changes on Saturdays. That's Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno, family-owned and operated. Josh Elmer alongside Travis Davidson teased it before the break. Man, it's a big recruiting month, and these next couple of months, obviously the summer months, always big on the recruiting front, and there's a bunch of important names in town, and one of those, a 2028 signal caller. And, of course, if you're not familiar with the name, you certainly will be swiftly, and you'll recognize the familial tie. 2028 four-star quarterback Graham Simpson has visited Oklahoma this week, and, of course, he is, Travis, the younger brother of now Rams quarterback Ty Simpson, former Crimson Tide quarterback, first-rounder Ty Simpson. So that an intriguing 2028 name, and all of a sudden there's several names to track in the 2028 class. We talked about Trey Tagliaferri on this program earlier this week, Brady Quinn, Trey Wright, and Gavin as well, all names to watch in that 2028 quarterback cycle for Oklahoma. But Graham Simpson is an intriguing name, and of course he's got the older brother that's now an NFL quarterback and was a very good college quarterback for Alabama.
Yeah, and he's the highest rated on the board for Oklahoma right now. Not necessarily Oklahoma's board, maybe. Who knows? But as far as recruiting rankings go, I know a lot of people always want to know that. He's ranked as the number 15 quarterback in the country and would be a good get for sure. Oklahoma likes to see their guys come and come in camp and see what they've got. You know, he's class of 2028, so he's got a lot of growing to do. He's listed right now at about 5'11 and a half, 182. Not a lot of people stop growing in their sophomore year. So he's got a little bit of time. He's obviously going to go into his junior year. So it's kind of interesting. It felt like in 2027, Josh, Oklahoma had pegged like Peyton Houston. That was our guy. And then obviously he goes to LSU. They quickly move on to another guy they've been scouting for a while in Jamison Roberts. They get him in the boat. 2028 feels like way more of a toss-up, and I'm not sure if it's, hey, look, they like a few guys, they're just waiting on them to separate, or I don't know if they've just like what they've kind of stacked up a little bit with Bo Bentley and the incoming Jamison Roberts. If you remember, obviously Lincoln Riley used to kind of go 1 year on, 1 year off when it came to quarterback, so there's a bit of a logjam happening here.
So Grayson and I, earlier this week, as Parker's been at times out of the mix kind of all week long, focused on covering a lot of this camp action for Suitor Scoop and obviously for us right here at the Ref. We talked about Tagliaferri and Brady Quinn, and they're different-looking quarterbacks, Travis. Quinn, much more dual threat, mobile. Tagliaferri, not that he can't move, but he just flipping on his tape looks like that traditional pocket passing type of quarterback. It's probably difficult, and Grayson said as much earlier this week, and I get what he's saying. It's probably tough anymore to think that maybe you're going to have multiple quarterbacks in a class, but if you could, just playing the hypothetical here, do you like setting it up to where Tagliaferri, for instance, for me, looks like the pocket passing type of quarterback. He looks to be, to me, more of a finished product. Do you like mixing and matching the types of quarterbacks you get in a class? Quinn looked to me, if you project this thing out, and if you were to tell me that Coach Arbuckle's going to be here in the long term, Travis, he just, in terms of the style of quarterback that he is, seems like he'd be more of a natural fit for Oklahoma. But what do you think? Do you like mixing and matching the types of quarterbacks that you bring in a class?
Oddly enough, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I think you just want to get as many close matches as what Ben Arbuckle wants, right? It's just go with whatever style you want the most and then take the two that you think fit into that style, right? I mean, if I wear, you know, I got a size 13 shoe, if I'm buying two pairs of shoes, they're both going to be size 13, you know, because that's what fits on my foot. So, like, I don't want two stylistically different guys. Just find the guy that you think fits best within your offense. And I always look at these kind of, intangibles, not necessarily for the player in general, but I look at where they go to school. And right or wrong, we live in a peer recruiting society, right? I think, obviously, one of the great things about a current corner commit for Oklahoma is he's on the same team as a highly coveted defensive lineman that Oklahoma's after in the 2028 class. So I look at, where do they play? Brady Quinn out of Hollywood, Florida, Chaminade Madonna down there. That's a good school. It's produced a lot of really good talent, right? Hollywood, Florida area produces a ton of talent. You look at Trey Wright over there at Frisco Lone Star. I don't have to tell anybody about Frisco, Texas, and the amount of talent they produce. So I start to look at some different things like that. If everything's equal everywhere else, let's see what type of peer recruiting we can get done.
Do you have a quarterback out of the bunch? I don't know how much. I assume. I mean, you enjoy following recruiting. I do too.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how much of a flip on the tape kind of person you are, but if you are, is there a quarterback right now, not that Oklahoma likes the best, but maybe that you like the best out of these names?
Yeah, Graham Simpson is who I would pursue heaviest.
That's the guy.
If I were in the front office, I'd be going after Graham Simpson. And he's there camping, and we'll find out a lot, obviously, over the coming weeks to see if Oklahoma agrees with me.
Well, it's not just Graham Simpson that's camping with Oklahoma today and over this week. Who else has your eye, and what are some of the big storylines you're following during this important camping week for Oklahoma?
Well, I mean, the biggest name and one of the biggest people involved is Kellen Hall, the talented defensive lineman, number one defensive lineman in the country according to the Rivals industry rankings. He is camping with the Sooners. He's participating in the camp. He's been on a visit, and he's taken part of the camp. I was texting with somebody yesterday, and they said that the staff actually got Kellen Hall and Jim Nagy both birthday cakes and presented them to them, because I guess we all know Nagy's birthday was yesterday. Well, Kellen Hall has a birthday as well in this window, so they celebrated their birthdays together, old Jim Nagy and Kellen Hall. I thought that was kind of a cool little thing that the staff did. But yeah, Todd Bates is cool. He's got the full court press on Kellen Hall, and this would be the crown jewel of the 2028 class if Oklahoma's able to pull it off.
Just want to say hey to some folks in the YouTube chat. Pierre, let's see, Mr. Swole is in there. Vigilante Designs, a bunch of you folks in there. Jimmy Satterfield is in the YouTube chat. Topher and others that I'm probably not all listing here, but they've said hello, and so hello to all of you in the YouTube chat. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Friday afternoon. That's the hallmark of this program right now, right? Is that Brent Venables and Todd Bates and Miguel Chavis, they've turned the defensive front lines around for Oklahoma. They went and they got David Stone. They brought in and signed Jaden Jackson. So, to me, if you're talking about most important targets, Kellen Hall, no doubt, would be right at the front of the bus. 6'5", 275. That's what Rivals has him listed at. You mentioned, and you're correct, top defensive lineman according to Rivals' recruiting rankings. He's the number 3 player nationally. And just to share sort of what the entirety of the industry thinks, Travis, 24/7 Sports, they like him a lot too. He's number 25 nationally according to 247, and he's the number 3 defensive lineman according to 247. So everybody looks at Kellen Hall out of Christian Academy in Louisville and says, hey, this guy is elite. And those are the types of players that Oklahoma, if they want to have championship staying power, SEC contention power, those are the guys you got to keep bringing in.
Yeah, and, talk about just, sit back and think about how bad this defense was, how bad it was, especially, when you just look at raw rankings of total defense and scoring defense. There are people, national people, that think that Oklahoma might have the best defense in the country this upcoming year. It's impossible to put in words what Brent Venables has done to truly rebuild and give a facelift to this Oklahoma defense. And they've got others in, obviously. Keone Snipes from Saraland, Alabama. Rivals industry rankings has him exactly as the 100th best player in the country, but he's another one of those 6'5", 245, just another guy that they want to bring in. And obviously Jim Nagy's ties to Alabama were valuable in the pursuit of Jalen Scott as well as Jamison Roberts in the 2027 class. Would not be shocked if those ties continue to pay dividends down there in Alabama.
A couple of interesting questions out there. Keep those flying in. Text line 405-651-3439. And if you don't have that number plugged in, go ahead and plug that KREF text line number into your phone. You can text us right through the app as well. Download our app, KREF, the KREF app, for free today. 405-651-3439. That's the text line number, though. Ryan in Jacksonville. I'm curious, Travis, to get your take on this. If you take Soul Mission and the NIL money discussion and those items out of it, what would you say are some cultural differences between a recruit visit under Brent Venables as compared to Lincoln Riley? That's from Ryan in Jacksonville.
Well, I think there's multiple kind of eras of it, different versions of it, right? Because speaking with people that were on the team in the Lincoln Riley era, they were just kind of like, it just didn't really feel like, it felt like a play caller was in charge. And I know that's a weird way to put it, but it felt like there was an offensive quarterback coach in charge of the whole program. Whereas it didn't really feel like the adult was in the room, like there was somebody with their arms all the way around the program, like Oklahoma fans got used to with Bob especially. But with Brent, there's more of that feel. And I think it may come with defensive guys in general, that it feels like, hey, look, this defensive, program is going to be built on strength and toughness and physicality and strain and all those things. Then you fast forward to now, yes, BV's in charge, but Jim Nagy has come along and introduced really a pro model, an NFL model, to where it's not as reliant on emotions, I guess, speaking specifically to like the recruiting environments. Under Lincoln Riley, you would get like emotional commitments. You would see the eyeball emoji go out and people would go nuts, right? Because the kids back then didn't have to ask their agents first, right? They didn't have to negotiate. They didn't have to, meet with the GM and see what it would look like, right? Well, so you're getting less of that. You're getting and you can shape your visits differently. You're not trying to get the super emotional highs and, all this, that, and the other. You're trying to get more family time. You're trying to get to know these people. You're trying to get them to trust you, because trust goes a long way when you're in contract negotiations. So that's probably the way that I would best sum it up when it comes to the differences of the three distinct different eras that we've had in the last, decade.
It's so nice to be talking about names over the years like David Stone and then Jaden Jackson and then Kellen Hall now, and obviously to win the recruitment of David Stone, not once, but a couple of times, because obviously entered the transfer portal and then, came back, took his name out of the transfer portal. To win those recruitments and to have legitimate discussions about a defensive player like Kellen Hall, where the program is at, I think those are all great points you made about the cultural differences between recruiting then versus now. And it's just the emphasis. I really do believe clearly there was not a great enough emphasis, Travis, on defensive playmakers. It's like you could say one thing publicly, but the results indicated outside of what Buki, that would be the big one, that they just didn't have a lot of hits on the defensive side of the football. So it's nice to be in a more healthy place for Oklahoma. And the fans, I think you saw that at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium last year. They respond to championship-level defense, Travis. They've been begging for it, and they've gotten it. And it's just exciting to have those conversations on the recruiting trail, too.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference in just an offensive guy and a defensive guy running a program, right? When you look at the teams that are winning a bunch of them, they tend to be all defensive guys, right? Well, when you look at the players that Lincoln Riley had on defense, you've got guys that are good in the NFL. Look at Nick Bonito. He's one of the best players in the NFL, and he played on one of the worst defenses in college football. Like, look at the Jalen Redmonds or the Isaiah Thomases or guys that played for those defenses that are good, anywhere between good, serviceable, and great NFL defenders. And I think that speaks to more of just, look, Lincoln Riley he got talent through the doors, but it's just the program was not built to have a good, strong defensive identity. And part of that was by design with Alex Grinch. He wanted to go small, spread them out. We can get into that conversation, obviously, another day. We've had it a lot on here. But, I think Oklahoma fans ought to be overjoyed with not only where the program is now, but the foundation that's been laid and where it's headed.
a couple of texts, and then we'll jump to our final TO of this 2 o'clock hour. It is Locked In. Josh Elmer alongside Travis Davidson. And you can text into 405-651-3439. And in the YouTube chat, if you have something you want us to discuss, by all means, please feel free to toss a question in over there. Five-star Brian in Bixby. Does anyone even work in this place anymore? People do, in fact, work here. Five-star Brian in Bixby. And matter of fact, Parker's working as we speak. But at times on the recruiting front, which, of course, that's where Parker exists. 24/7, 365. That requires he not be in this building so he could be at camp. But there are, in fact, people that do still work here. Let's see. One-star Joe Bob from Louisiana. Army of one versus few the proud. Counting one to make a difference versus counting on each other to achieve a goal.
I like it. I like it. There was another text I wanted to address because I think it's an opinion held by a few people, Josh. So a texter from the 405 says, why does OU ignore the fact that being short is a significant disadvantage at the QB position? I'm not sure necessarily where this comes from. I think it may be because we were talking about 2028 players and that
Simpson doesn't have prototypical measurables.
Right, but I think this is something like he's 2028. He's not going to stay 5'11 and a half. His brother, Ty Simpson, is over 6'1 that he measured at the combine. Jamison Roberts, the quarterback in the 2027 class, is 6'2, 6'2 and a half. Bo Bentley is 6'1. John Mateer is 6'1, a little over 6'1. Like, I don't think 6'1 is necessarily a small quarterback. That's like Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy. Like plenty of NFL quarterbacks are 6'1". Mahomes is 6'2". Like, so I think it may have just been Simpson's brother being 5'11 and a half. But maybe other fans thought the same of, man, we got these shorter quarterbacks. Really, and ironically, one of Oklahoma's most prolific quarterbacks of all time, Heisman winner and first-round pick, is like 5'5" in Kyler Murray. So, the height issue, I don't think that it's necessarily a current one. And if you want tall quarterbacks, I'm sure some will look back to Davis Bevel. He was very tall. But Oklahoma has Whit Neubauer on the roster. He's 6'6". So if you can take solace in Oklahoma going after Whit Neubauer as your tall quarterback, then there you go.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. I don't think I don't know that we ignore that in a perfect world you'd have all of the qualities that you like from maybe a 5'10", 5'11" quarterback that you're recruiting, and then you'd have the 6'4" frame, right? I mean, but that's not the case in every single instance. And you can be a great quarterback and be a little slighter of frame. But that doesn't mean that there aren't some obstacles. Seeing over the middle at times, maybe having to roll out of the pocket and design your offense that way. That's a real thing too. But we'll take a final TO. I want to, before we get out of here, get your thoughts on Kolar's commitment to Stanford. What was your reaction to it? Obviously, though, the Sooners landed Gabe Osborne. That was a big name in this class, Travis, and then just the 27 class as a whole. We'll take a final TO, and we'll bow tie this hour. It's The Ref.
This is your home for Sooner fans. The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Beats and Bites is back for its 10th anniversary. Join us to celebrate a decade of delicious food, incredible live music, and unforgettable memories at Riverwind Casino. The party starts Saturday, June 13th with Cheap Trick and Gin Blossoms. Book your tickets online or at the box office for only $10. And we'll see you at Riverwind.
Hey, it's Chris Plank. Join TJ Perry and myself weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. with The Plank Show. Nobody covers every Sooner sport like we do here at the Ref. So make sure, from border to border and coast to coast, to download the KREF app, presented by Warren Cat. It's the best way to stay connected with the home of Sooner fans, no matter where you are. Simply search KREF from the Apple app or Google Play Store and take us with you everywhere. Download the app today. The KREF app, presented by Warren Cat, proud sponsor of Sooner Athletics.
Whether you're from out of town or a lifelong Normanite, Visit Norman encourages you to shop, eat, and play local this summer. Since 1976, the Mont has been serving up Norman favorites: the legendary Sooner Swirl, mouth-watering chips and queso, and unforgettable nights on the patio. Meet your friends at the corner of Boyd and Classen and enjoy a true Norman tradition at the Mont. Transform your home at Wonder House. They specialize in custom window treatments, outdoor screens, and expert upholstery tailored to your lifestyle. Discover an outstanding selection of designer and performance fabric at Wonder House, beautifully tailored for the way you live. And keep the fun moving at the Young Family Athletic Center. Dive into exciting water adventures at Westwood Aquatics and spend a great day on the course at Westwood Golf Course. There's something for every member of the family. Keep the good times rolling in Norman all summer when you eat, shop, and play local.
Insurance shouldn't be confusing or expensive. That's why Oklahomans trust Right Way Insurance. As an independent agency, Right Way takes the time to assess your needs and shop multiple top-rated companies to find the best coverage for you. Auto, home, life, health, or business, Right Way puts you on the right way to protection and peace of mind. Contact Mike, Greg, and their team at 405-607-6014 or request a quote online at rightwayinsuranceok.com.
Your backyard should be more than beautiful. It should be extraordinary. At Signature Custom Pools, they turn your vision into a one-of-a-kind outdoor masterpiece. From concept to completion, their expert team works with you every step of the way, delivering superior design, exceptional craftsmanship, and award-winning customer service. If you can dream it, they can build it. For a free consultation, call Signature Custom Pools today at 405-898-9098 or visit signaturecustompools.com so you can experience the signature difference.
Right now at Bob Hurley RV, we've got more ways than ever to get into the right RV. Choose from the largest inventory in Oklahoma. Get payments starting as low as $89 a month and take 90 days before your first payment. Plus, enjoy free camping for a full year. It's everything you need to get started this summer without the wait. Bob Hurley RV. Compare with confidence. You choose what fits. Shop us anytime online at bobhurleyrv.com. That's bobhurleyrv.com. Start your adventure here.
Are you dealing with chronic pain, back pain, joint pain, old sports injuries, tendinitis, plantar fasciitis, stubborn muscle strains? Well, you don't have to live with it. At OK Theta and Wellness, we use innovative technologies like StemWave shockwave therapy to improve your overall well-being. StemWave stimulates your body's natural healing response to help reduce pain and restore movement. No surgery and no downtime. Let OK Theta and Wellness find a life-changing solution for you. Ready for relief? Visit oktheta.com today to learn more.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
All right, we're back. Back with you on a Friday afternoon right here on the Ref, and thanks for hanging, everybody. Home of Sooner fans. It is Locked In. Josh Helmer, Travis Davidson sitting in for Parker and Grayson today. And, of course, this hour, this program presented by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Half-price oil changes on Saturdays. And, of course, they've got some of the best trucks and SUVs on the road. So, speaking of prototypical size, for any folks that are concerned that a couple of quarterbacks, well, wait a second, not recruiting necessarily all the prototypical guys. That's not the case at every position group for Oklahoma for some of the campers in town.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, our texter from the 405 that was talking about quarterback height might be on to something, because Oklahoma is going to need Victor Wembanyama at quarterback if they're able to sign some of the campers that they have in today. They've got a 3-star in, Florian's Naglins from Illinois. He does not currently hold an Oklahoma offer, but he is 6'7". You've got Cohen Dial, who's a 4-star offensive tackle who does hold an Oklahoma offer. He's 6'8", 294. And then they've also got 6'8", 315-pound tackle Memphis Elsie. And then they've lastly got a 2029 local kid from Carl Albert, Jax Wilkerson, who's listed on 247 at 6'7", 295 pounds. So that is 4 tackles that are camping with Oklahoma today that are all 6'7" or taller. So, yeah, it might need Victor Wembanyama, or maybe I know a lot of people are down on Chet. Maybe Chet can, throw a football instead. We could put him back there.
Maybe he could just go hang out with these guys and get some diet tips,
Yeah, there you go.
Right there, get with the big boys up front. Yeah, that sounds like a good collection of offensive linemen to target for Oklahoma. Glass half full, glass half empty. Which direction you want first?
Let's start empty, and then we'll finish on the glass half full.
Okay. What was your reaction? I liked Ben Kolar a lot from day one. I was calling those games at Norman North when he burst onto the scene as a freshman. So I really like what he can bring to the table at the next level. But obviously, he commits to Stanford. What was your reaction?
It's one of those that good for him, first of all. Stanford is an incredible educational institution. He's an extremely smart kid. I'm never going to knock a kid for choosing to go get a degree and get paid to get a degree from Stanford. Good for him. I do think that Oklahoma was, at the end of the day, just they couldn't get over the, hey, of course, we still love you. Seneca Driver committed, and he's kind of a prototypical tight end, could be one of the top players, is one of the top players in the country right now. But we still really love you, and we want you here at Oklahoma. I think when it came to Stanford, it was, look, you are our top priority. Obviously, he's their highest-rated tight end prospect. And when Stanford's willing to make you the highest priority and at least somebody is in your ear saying, hey, your own local team didn't even make you a top priority, just like they didn't make your brother a top priority. Like, the negative recruiting is just, it's too there for everybody else against Oklahoma. But couldn't be happier for Ben Kolar. I think he's a great player, and I think he's in a great situation out at Stanford.
Yeah, I'm happy for him that it's not been a great football situation of late. They've not done a lot of winning, Travis, but it's nice to be the top priority, and he'll obviously be a featured guy there. Gabe Osborne, though, that most folks felt like, hey, that was the final big name on the board at Oklahoma. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, had to have it, right? And a lot of these local kids that are extremely highly rated, you have to balance the, okay, like, you're a local kid. We hope that you come here, and we hope that you're just naturally inclined to come here. Your family wants you here most likely, this, that, and the other. But you've still got to treat them as if they're an out-of-state recruit. You've got to roll out the red carpet. You've got to come correctly on the NIL side. You've got to do all that. And Alabama and Ohio State were looming heavily. A lot of people thought he was going to take his Alabama visit that was going to start today. But obviously Oklahoma pushes all the right buttons. Roy Williams takes him out fishing, takes him out
awesome.
Boar hunting, and Superman saves the day again, gets Gabe Osborne in the boat, who was kind of tired of the recruiting process anyways. He gets to kind of relax a little bit and still beef up that cornerback room with a couple other targets on the board.
Well, I hope you have a great weekend, my friend. I enjoyed getting to hang for a bit.
Absolutely. I hope Skip and the boys have a better weekend than both of us.
Man, wouldn't that be great? If Skip and the boys have a better weekend than both of us, that'll make my weekend a great weekend. That would help my weekend.
Amen. Amen. It'll definitely make my mid-June even better.
Well, enjoyed it, my friend. I know you've got big news coming up beginning of next week, so I'm looking forward to finding out about that. But otherwise, man, have a good one.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you next week.
And thank you to all of you for hanging out and on the YouTube chat as well. Everybody, have a great weekend. So long.